Global Communications Network and the operators of this radio station.
This is Express Yourself with
The Professor.
Call in and participate at 326-0271 or 326-0272. Follow us live on Facebook and globalradio99.5fm.com. Express yourself live on Global Radio 99.5 FM.
Good afternoon, Bahamas. This is Professor Sidney Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM. This is a great day to be in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And Bahamians, we have so much going for us. There are times when we do not fully understand. And we have to sometimes look back and check again and see how far God has brought us as a nation. We need to have strong negotiators to protect the interests of the Bahamian people. If you have weak negotiators, they don't realize what God has put in our hand. And I think a lot of our leaders do not understand the makeup of this country. Why is it that God has given us over 100,000 square miles of ocean with many islands, many rocks, many keys, 700 islands, rocks and keys over that 100,000 square miles, the best waters on the planet. We still don't know what to do with it. Teeming with fish, teeming with life. And yet, even today, we are not getting the kind of benefits that we ought to get from what is in our country, our natural resources. How are we benefiting from that? Tourism is supposed to be our biggest industry. But there are some other things that we need to work on in order to be able to move forward as a nation. The same model the Safford-Stan set in place is still the same model we're using. We haven't improved on it, Bahamians. Why? Why are we stagnant while others around the world have been able to expand and grow with it? Here is something we need to think about. How is it that the Bahamians outside the Bahamas, not necessarily all of them, but some of them have done some outstanding things in different nations around the world? We need people like that to come and help the Bahamas. Now, provided they ain't take out citizenship in them other places now, because that automatically disqualifies them from being Bahamians, because they were taken out the rights and privileges accorded that particular nation. The Constitution is very specific about that. So while it is true that our brothers and sisters out there who would like to come back home, they can come back at any time. Just like the Constitution allows them to leave, they can come back. There are no restrictions put on them when they left, you know. They say they went for a better way of life. Well, fine, no problem. We have people right here in this country with tremendous talent, tremendous ability, tremendous potential, but they need the support of the authorities in the country, particularly as it relates to when you're dealing with other nations out there. Now, I just heard recently that some treaties have been signed by the government of the Bahamas. I heard 5 of them recently. I don't know what they're all about. We got to go and dig them up and study them. See, the problem with our leaders is they sign on to all kinds of things. You and I do not know what they are until they announce it and say, this is what they done sign. The deal already said. No input from you, no input from me. That is a backward way to run a nation. We've been doing that for over 52 years. We have to say to the government of the Bahamas, you have to stop that foolishness. Because all kinds of mistakes could be made. But all I have to do, like I told you, the electricity law was passed in 2024. I have that right in front of me. I can read it and study it verbatim. That's what we have to do with these things that they assign on to all these intellectual things they say they sign on to. Because if you don't know what they are, Bahamians, how are you going to benefit from it? And you didn't have any input. That's the problem. Who was it who signed on these things? Some people who the government decide they're going to sit them to the table. You all go and sign that. That is not the way we should be functioning as a nation. That's dangerous. Because the persons who sit to the table had no discussion with the people of the country. None. Now, we've been operating that way for too long. We have to change that behavior. It is not in our best interest. See, the SpaceX program, again, it's the same foolishness. They had to put a pause on it. And they talk about the fellas didn't do some things that they were supposed to do. But the damage has already been done. And a lot of things have dropped in our waters. And some have seen the change in the water right here off New Providence. Arawak, the Bend, Saunders Beach. And there may be some other areas of New Providence, and Bahamians, you need to keep checking to see whether the water in your area has changed. Because anything dropped in that water that is dangerous can pollute the water. Now, how are we going to get it cleared up? These people were supposed to be doing some cleaning up. Who's monitoring the cleaning up? How do we know? You can't just leave it up to other people to do it for you. You ain't got no way of checking anything. That's why it's important we be careful what we sign. You see this dispute? As I said, Norman's key it is. This labor dispute. And of course, the director of labor made some remarks. Some allegations, very strong allegations were made by the people there, Bahamians and foreigners alike now. Some waking up to 17 hours, 12 to 17 hours, and not being paid overtime, and still money outstanding. We have to be in a position to monitor these things and these people who are operating on these different islands throughout the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And people got their own little kingdom going. They set up their own little nation in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, contrary to the way the nation ought to be functioning. That means you can't have that. You can't have strangers coming in here taking advantage of Bahamians. That is not a good thing. But the director said he is investigating. But he's also said there have been breaches of the law. Now, when the law is violated, then there should be penalties. Penalties should automatically follow. What are the penalties being imposed on these individuals, and what kind of compensation is to be given to the people who are working there? No man, woman, or child shall ever be slave or bondsman to anyone. What about that aspect of the law where people were taken advantage of, and they have to be fully compensated for that? But we will see, because we had one headline say heads will roll, but that remains to be seen. Some of these headlines can be very sensational. It's just a headline, but what happens after that? Do you see any improvement in the working conditions of these people? We had a situation right here on the island in New Providence where one hotel just shut right down and put a large number of Bahamians, hold on, call it, don't go nowhere, put a large number of Bahamians out of job on the outside. They didn't want no union. You hear any crap like that? I don't know whether these people have union representation or not, but that remains to be seen. But the Constitution calls for the protection of these people to have their labor not exploited. And they are to have union representation. But there are some people who don't want that. But yet they want to do business here and exploit Bahamians and exploit foreigners, because the law applies to both. Everybody who's in the Bahamas. And so they exploit both strangers, foreigners, and Bahamians being exploited. And that's what's apparently happening in this particular case at Norman's Key. It may be beautiful, but some terrible things happen on Norman's Key. That's only that's only a portion of it. It may appear to be peaceful, but some very strange, ugly things have occurred on Norman's Key. All we got to do is dig up the record, We'll see it. Caller, you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Professor Thompson, how you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing okay.
This Kendall Hanna from Freeport, Bahama.
Yeah, what did you say, Kendall?
Man, I trying to wait, but anticipation taking me over. Dr. Hyler or nobody called you yet, or you're not saying nothing but anything yet.
What do you mean?
I have to break the news. Nobody talking about our prime minister had a stroke Wednesday.
Wait now, hold on. What do you mean?
Come on, you got the inside scoop. You're the Constitution man.
Yeah,
all this knowledge supposed to be to you first.
But caller, just hold on, man. You got to take it slow. What prime minister had a stroke? You talking about the prime minister?
Ray Davis had a stroke. And nobody talking about it. Michael Penta, they haven't been nobody. Nobody talking about it. Nobody telling the Bahamian people.
Put the call on hold, please. You see, I don't even know if I should even entertain this because I don't know anything about it. While I am prepared to allow people to speak freely, I haven't heard of, based on what he said, I haven't heard anything about it. I may have to really shut it off because he's saying it. We have no verification for it. And I don't even know whether I want him to continue with this. But bring the caller back up, please. Caller, you there?
Well, this is why I'm breaking the news to you, Professor Thompson.
Yeah, but where did you get it from? What's the source? What's the source? Stop, caller. What is your source, man?
What you mean, my thought?
What is your source? Where did you get that information from?
You could go on Breaking News, on Bahamian News, on Facebook, and you'll get it.
Okay. All right. Anything else you want to add?
Well, each one teach one. I'm not saying this over my head. It got to come from somewhere, Professor Thompson. I'm not crazy. I'm intelligent.
No, I'm not questioning your intelligence. I don't want to get into that.
Well,
but when you make
want to talk about it.
But the point is, we got to know for sure. We can't say just any and everything.
Okay, well, the topic you're on today, you need to come to power. Well, look it up, and you'll see, so you can present it to the Bahamian people.
But no, we have to know whether the source is credible.
Well, look it up, research it, so you can present it to the Bahamian people.
Okay, all right. Okay, thanks for your call. Thanks for your call. I'm going to say to the audience right now, please be very careful of information you may see on the internet. In fact, you had the Minister for National Security said the same thing. We can find out otherwise whether the Prime Minister did have what he claimed he had. All right? There's a way to do it, but we don't want to put that kind of information out there to cause panic among the Bahamian people, because people put all kind of crappy things on the internet, and there are those who would want to swallow it, who want to believe it. But we have to be careful, very, very careful. But we would check out and see whether that is so or not. And when it comes to the health of the Prime Minister, we must exercise caution and restraint. He has doctors who would be looking after him, and we'd have to get from the doctors about his health, what his condition would be. I don't know of the situation that the particular individual has mentioned, so I'm going to just shut it off right here because I don't know about that. We'll have to look into that and see. But according to him, that's what he is looking at. But not everything you read, Bahamians, or see, or what's put on the internet is actually correct. Now, what I try to do is to get accurate and precise information as we are able to. There are sometimes you may not be able to get it. You may get a little piece here, a little piece there. The information is not complete. And so you have little bits and pieces. I like to get the full strength of it, if we possibly can, and then speak intelligently on the airwaves about what we have. But it has to be a source that is credible. Now, see, when it comes to laws that are passed in the Senate and in the House, fine. We got the entire thing. We could strip that to the bone because that's what they pass. We will know whether it's constitutionally sound, yes or no. Now, I understand 5 treaties have been signed by the government of the Bahamas. I don't know what they are. I just heard it mentioned on the airwaves. We have to go and pull it up and see whether they are constitutionally sound, yes or no. See the agreement between the Bahamas and the United States? I haven't heard any talk shows talk about that. You got to study these things. What is the agreement between the Bahamas and the United States? What are we supposed to be doing? What are they supposed to be doing? What are the particulars of the agreement? But nobody speaks to that. And they'll beat around the bush and talk all kinds of different things. Bahamians, you got to get what the actual agreement says. And sometimes it takes time to study these things and to look them over and make sure that you have accurate and precise information. What is the agreement with China? Because we're hearing a lot of things in the news, and the Chinese ambassador, we can play her right in a moment, some things that she said, and she has a right to speak for her government. And of course, the U.S. ambassador would have, well, charge the affairs. We don't even have an ambassador. Now, why that is so, that's a different kettle of fish. It's been a long time, Bahamians, since we've had a U.S. ambassador. And we are supposed to be friends, whatever that's supposed to mean. But I keep saying to us, watch what they do. See what they do. You listen to what they say, then watch what they do. That's important. Mr. Producer, you could play that tape from the Chinese ambassador. Well, that's a very interesting the Chinese ambassador, mutual respect, and having the right to choose who they want to affiliate with. That's fine. And then, of course, the fact they have made relationships with many nations around the world, mutual respect, and being able to have trading partners. They want to be friendly. They want to work with other nations, and that's fine. That's all well and good. That's on the surface. Now, actually what goes on behind closed doors may be a different kettle of fish. And I'm not blaming the ambassador for what she's saying, because she's saying what her government tells her to say, and that's fine with me. We have to look at China and see how the Bahamas can benefit from the relationship with China, not taking advantage of them in any way, shape, or form, but protecting our interests. And this seems to be a problem with our leaders in this country. Bahamians always seem to get left out, while some other people benefit. Bahamians seem to be on the other end of the stick. So it's very important that we have strong negotiators who are going to look at what we have. Do we understand what we have in this country? That's another thing we need to look at. Do we recognize what God has given us? And it is good to have relationships with other nations. You look in your Bible, you will see the children of Israel had relationships with other nations, but there were some specific, clear-cut things that God told the children of Israel, don't you mess with that, because they will turn you away from me. And they didn't listen to God. So the things what God told them to be avoid, they went and let it happen, baby. Now, we can have good relations with China. We know that China is a communist country. They're a dictatorial government. They don't have democracy over there. But we have democracy in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And we want to keep that. I think we have a call on the line. Caller, you're live on air. Go ahead, please. Caller, you there?
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead, caller.
Oh, good afternoon, Professor.
Yes,
Good
sir.
afternoon to your guests and good afternoon, Bahamas.
Yes.
Professor, I got a couple of little things I'll answer quick.
Okay.
Professor, I congratulate you first. Don't mind I keep on saying that. I congratulate you first for teaching us about the Constitution. I just want to say that out loud. And Professor, I can tell you why. You could deal with those other countries, right? But you got to go through the Constitution. If you said,
Exactly.
go ahead, Professor.
You hit the nail right on the head. See, that's why I'm saying, I just heard, it was yesterday and I think this morning, 5 different agreements that the government of Bahamas has signed. There was no consultation with anybody, as far as I know. But they say they didn't sign it.
Mm-hmm.
So now we don't know the heck what it is. No one, just hold on. No one brought anything to us, proposed agreement with these particular nations or with these different groupings. We don't know, but they already signed it. And see, that's the danger. We don't know whether it's constitutionally sound, yes or no. The only way we're going to know is we got to go through each one of them, analyze it from top to bottom, and then we will know whether it's constitutionally sound. Go ahead, caller.
And Professor, when you all be talking, I just be done off the air. Guess what? Remember when I tell you when I find my favorite chapter, that drug dealers 2020 law?
Yeah, 20.
When I doing that research?
Yes.
Man, they got secret. When they sign these agreements, if you don't see before they sign it, they got secret. You can't discuss that. I hear you all talking it. I done be off the air. These agreements, when you sign them, you can't stalk them, They secret. I see it. When I was doing that research, I look at it.
Yeah, but caller, slow down a bit. If the government of the Bahamas is acting on behalf of the Bahamian people, and the Bahamian people are supposed to be in charge, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then everything that they sign, we ought to know about it because it's our business.
Yeah,
You're putting, hold on, man.
Okay.
You're putting burdens on the Bahamian people that they have to deal with further down the road. And then the man come back and say, well, this is what you all signed.
Mm-hmm.
We ain't know nothing about it until the man say, that's what you signed. Now we have to decide at that point in time whether we are going to go with it or we're going to change it. Because these things could be changed. The only difficulty with that is you make it more difficult for the people who are going to have to deal with it to change it. I'm not saying it can't change, because anything that's written in like that could be changed. But the problem is if the government of the day, whoever that may be, were to put these proposed arrangements to the Bahamian people and get input from them, then we don't have to go through this foolishness. You get what I'm saying?
I hear you.
Okay, go ahead.
And they need to let like people like professors look at the things, because I don't trust them. I really don't trust them, because look like a lot of people don't know the Constitution.
No, they
They're
don't.
signing all kind of things, and you can't discuss it with the people. Not on the level I know, it might be a bigger level. People sign these things, there's no Constitution in it. Why do people make them shame? Say you gain the people, if you rule the Constitution, I ain't calling that people name because I don't go away. The other country can't make you shame.
What you mean you want?
Make you shame.
Hold on, caller. What you mean you want to call them other people names? What you mean you want to go away? Huh? You want to go to the United States? Listen. The man could stop you from going there even though you got your visa right in your passport.
I know.
The man right at the gate right there.
They listen to everything.
No, it doesn't matter. But the point is, the man is right there. You got everything in hand, and the man to say you can't cross the line.
That's true.
That's been so from that time. I was surprised when I got to know that many years ago. I wasn't aware of it, but I say it right here in the paper.
Mm-hmm.
You see, so you got everything. You got your visa. You got everything intact, and the man stop you right there. Boom! You can't cross the line. Where you going? So we got to go to another place. You got to go to Canada.
Yeah, you go to Canada or go someplace else. Well, I'll skip Canada, but I'll go someplace else. But Professor, this is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
We need real solid behemoth in these things.
Yeah, we do.
Because they signing things and they rowing and they don't know the Constitution.
Yeah, that's
you
the problem.
signing all kind of things. Next time, Professor, I don't hold up the time. Let me say what Professor, we can come back to this.
Yes.
We can come back to this. But you know what I'm trying to say? As Bohemian, Professor, I'm going to put this chapter on. This is a chapter in the Bible. All us Bohemians got to remember this. And because, listen, do you know them other country, name all their children after the Bible. Name everybody, Joseph, Willie, all them after the Bible.
Yes.
And someone going right to them and say, let's turn this country over to voodoo. And not a soul, not one soul say, why we got all the Bible name? Are we the children of God? When people watch what people be saying, they'll come and steal your blessing. So when people Bohemian talking about violence and all these different things, we got to watch what they're saying. Is this Constitution sound? You hear what I'm saying?
Yes.
That country, all those people name after the Bible, and a slick person going there and say, let's turn this country over to voodoo. And everybody say, yes, let's do it. But not a soul say, why we get all these Bible names? So you know what we got to do? We got to learn from that. Watch our country. Watch everybody who making noise. Be careful what they're saying. Go to your Constitution and check it and see if what they're saying is constitutional sound. Because listen, Professor, I see something on the internet, all kind of this one saying National Intelligence Branch. And in the old days, you couldn't do that. We go to National Intelligence Branch, say that ain't me. You know that person will get arrested. They'll say, okay, that ain't you. Me just follow that. And when they go there, they'll arrest that person. You cannot do that in the Bahamas. But we get people change the law. They go inside the power in the house to get the power and move the landmark. You all about saying, I see a fighting person saying all kind of things, and that's not the person.
Yeah, that's
go
right.
to National Intelligence Branch and say that is not you, and that person ought to be arrested. That's all I can go on with today.
Yes. Well, thank you, caller. You said some very wonderful things that are accurate and true. And the point is that you have people who are perpetrating other people, impersonating someone else. That is a crime. That has always been criminal. And artificial intelligence, I understand, is involved in that. And, it makes more work for the police force. They have enough work to do right now. They're not going to tell you that they're not able to handle the situation, but you could see from the evidence, hardcore evidence, that the police is overwhelmed with these investigations. And somewhere along the line, something is going to get left out. That's unfortunate. But the best way we can help the police is to be law-abiding, so they could deal with a lot of these other things they're trying to investigate. Because everything has to be investigated. You just can't put things on people like that. Well, at least you shouldn't. This is Professor Sidney McGarter, Walter Thompson. The lines are open 326-0271, 326-0272, 813-0271. We'll be back after the break.
809-2310. Follow us live on Facebook and globalradio99.5fm.com. Express yourself.
This is Professor Sidney Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM. Bahamas, this is a great day to be in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. But you know, the election season is on, and Bahamas, you can hear a lot of crappy things. And I want to caution the Bahamian people, please be very careful of things you get on the internet, on social media, because you're going to find that you're going to be misled, you're going to be deceived. And remarks made by that particular personality, I don't want to even mention those remarks, because it can cause negative repercussions throughout the country. And there are some people out there who want to destabilize the Bahamas. Do you know that? Caller, stay on the line. Don't go nowhere. Let me make this point. From September of 1729, right on up to now, I think the day is May 21, if I'm not mistaken, 2025, we have had peaceful transition from one administration to the next. Do you understand how important that is? Do you know of any nation on the planet that has had that from 1729? Bahamians, we have to embrace that. You don't let that go. You see how peaceful it is out here in this country? Yes, we have some problems. Yes, we have some issues. But we can deal with those issues. But there are some who want to break that up, man. And I'll fight valiantly to make sure it doesn't happen. Call you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Hello, good day, Professor. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing okay.
It's nice to hear you on the radio speaking about the Constitution, but I would like to know if you could speak toward the issues toward, I live in Freeport, and there are a number of beaches that had access, that the public has access to, that we no longer have access to, like boat ramps and stuff like that.
Yes.
Due to the fact that foreigners came in, they block off the roads and the properties. I would like to know what is the Constitution says about blocking off a government road and beach accesses. Thank you.
Well, thank you, caller, for that question. And let me just put it this way. There are some specific laws relating to, well, statute laws that relate to beach access and so on. I don't know why this should be a recurring problem, because we're having some problems like that on the island of New Providence. Now, you have some beautiful beaches down there in Grand Bahama. In fact, when I was down there, the last time I was there, I went on one beach, and that was so pristine. I mean, like someone had just come in there and cleaned it up, but that's the way how nature operates. No bottles and cans, and I walked all over it, and I was delighted to see such a beautiful sight. And I'm glad the caller called about that. I could not quote specifically what a constitutional point on it, but I'll say this. That would come under statute law. Now, anything that violates the spirit and letter of the Constitution, that would be wrong. Okay, Bahamians ought to have access to the beaches, all of them. I don't ever know of them being private to anybody. So I'm glad that the caller called about it. We're going to look into that and see what's happening with the beaches, because even right here on New Providence, we've been having some problems. Paradise Island, same thing. We had problem over there. And now he's saying that they have the problem where foreigners have come in and roped off certain roads. I think that's what he said. And also the beaches. And Bahamians, this is something we have to push for changes. Now they have the port government, they got local government, they got parliamentary representation. Well, they ought to have that, plus the national government. That's four different forms of government in Grand Bahama. And even though you have all of that, here is the problem about beach access Bahamians. Do you think we should be having that kind of foolishness in this time? But we do. We do, Bahamians. And that ought not to be a problem. But it is right here on the island of New Providence. And I think it's time that the authorities get this matter cleared up once and for all. Because the majority of your people are here on New Providence, and only a few areas of beaches. I remember the Prime Minister Ingram, he had put access to all of the beaches going out west. And I knew they were there. I hope they're still open. And Bahamians had the right to go on the beach. Well, the same principle applies to Grand Bahama. We don't have one law in New Providence, then another law in Grand Bahama, but the fellas say he could block up the road and all. What kind of crap is that? And the beach. But Bahamians, we got to get that fixed. But Carl, I'm delighted that you called in. I could not think, right as I think right now, any specific article in the Constitution that I could refer you to. But I do know that beach access would be covered by statute law. And if it violates the spirit and letter of the Constitution, it would be unconstitutional. But as I understand it, and I want to make this very clear, beaches are public 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They are never to be the possession of any one group of persons or any particular personality. There have been some who have had properties near the beaches and they just put their walls up and put their gates up, and they think they're the only ones who should have access to that beach. That is a problem. I think the authorities of this country have to settle this problem once and for all. I don't know why they're wasting all this time. Now, on some other islands, we may have that problem. And other callers out there who may see this as a problem, you should call in and mention it to me. But it is something we will look into. And Carl, I appreciate you calling in. You wanted to know whether it's constitutionally sound. Public beaches are for the Bahamian people. And where they are blocking it off from you, that cannot be constitutionally sound. That's not their property to begin with. But you have people, and I was talking to someone yesterday, where some people are taking over whole keys, say their own, any crap like that. And the real owners of those keys don't have any say at all, or at least it appears to be that way, where they have come in, see people come in and they take over because we sit back and allow things to happen. What has to happen, what I've been saying to people, and I think I'm gonna have to stress this today because it needs to be understood. There were a few citizens who decided to take action, constitutional action, because they felt their constitutional rights were being violated. I believe we have a caller on the line. Let me let this caller come in. Caller, you're live on air. Go ahead, please. Caller, you there? Let's produce. I'm not hearing anything. Caller, you're live on air. Go ahead, please.
Professor Thompson.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm calling on behalf of the guy in Freeport, Grandmama, on this review. Well, our mind is a photograph. Anytime we put something there, it's there. It's like a videotape. So I'm having hard that you don't know that right off your head. Like you study that, you Professor Thompson. You put to know all that Constitution out your head like a tape recorder.
I appreciate your compliment, caller, but there are some things, before I say it constitutionally, based on what I heard and what I understand generally, beaches are public property. And no one should be cut off from the beaches. They're supposed to be open 24/7.
Yes, sir.
And I know that to be a fact. But we are having problems like that here on New Providence. We're having problems like that in Grand Bahama. There's only one law for the whole Bahamas.
Thompson,
yeah.
You read the Bible because you talk about the Bible. That's like a big dictionary, and you study that. That's how you study the Constitution. You're supposed to answer that right off back.
No, but caller, stop. You see, you don't seem to understand what I'm saying to you, you know.
Make me understand.
No, but I'm trying to make you to understand. There's some things I may not necessarily remember at the moment, at the time when a question is put to me.
Okay.
So I answered the gentleman, and I know according to statute law, listen what I said now, the public beaches are to be open to the public 24/7. He is saying that the fellas even rope off the road. You can't get to the road to get to the beach. What kind of nonsense is that?
Yeah, but I acknowledge that. I'm here.
Yeah, but you say you were there and you will say you were calling for the particular personality. I don't have a problem with that. What I'm saying is that you, and he said these were foreigners who did this thing. The point is, we as citizens of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, we have to protect our interests. I've been trying to get people to understand Article 24.1, where the last phrase of Article 24.1 speaks specifically for people to be organized to do what? For the protection of their interests. And obviously this person is concerned about the beaches. And I think there are others who are concerned about the beaches. You need to take appropriate action that is essential to stop these things from happening. That's what we're going to take, caller. You understand that?
Yeah, I understand that. But
Okay.
I only was talking about the Constitution and the Act, and you just could, remember it, memorize it. But you
No,
have a good
but
day.
not
Love you.
everything. I appreciate your confidence in me, but not everything I would remember right offhand when a question is thrown at me. You get
With
what
my
I'm saying?
energy, I'm gonna put it back in you. Yeah.
No,
You
one
have
has
a good
see, you got to be careful what you say on these airwaves, particularly when it relates to the Constitution. Because there are those out there who would try, you just make one simple mistake and they'll railroad you until Christ come back. But that's not going to happen with Professor Sidney Walter Thompson. That would never happen. But I appreciate your confidence in me.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate that. But I
Love
didn't mean to dismiss what the caller had said. If you got that impression, I apologize.
No, I ain't got no. I just trying to keep you sharp.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Well, when people throw these constitutional questions at me, it would keep me sharp.
Yes, sir.
I have a relative. That relative pepper me with constitutional questions. And there are sometimes the questions are so tough, I have to go back and reconsider some things before I can answer it. In fact, I am now looking at this local government law. Here you have a situation where 1 out of every 4 Bahamians is represented under local government. That means 3/4 of your people are not represented under local government. Is that constitutional? Hey, you have a law that's been going on for more than 25 years. And the people who have it are not even benefiting. There are all kinds of problems with local government in this country. We don't have it in New Providence. You have sections of the constituency I live in, got more people than all of them put together. But we don't have local government in New Providence. You understand what I'm saying, caller?
It was 6 acts that they signed.
Pardon?
It was 6 acts that they signed, not 5, 6.
6 what?
It was 6 acts the Prime Minister signed.
Oh,
Remember when they had to sign in the agreement with the act?
you're talking about these new things that they just mentioned?
Yeah, it was 6. It was 6.
Oh, it was 6.
One with stem cells, and one with like movies or trading.
Oh, okay. It's a total of 6, not 5.
Yeah, and
Okay.
it got to do with like stem cells. You know what I mean? One is stem cells with like blood copy and all that, and one is like marketing like businesses and trading.
I
you know
heard
what I
that.
mean?
Yeah. Okay. Well, if I said 5, well, you said 6. Well, okay. Well, I understand that. I just heard it on the radio yesterday and this morning.
Well, I am the news. I drink it.
That's good. Now my team got to check that out to see that it's constitutionally sound. See, what I try to get people to understand All the laws from 1729. You listening, caller?
Yes, sir.
That are in existence today must comply with the Constitution. All the treaties, all the agreements. They say these heads of agreement, what they sign. We don't know what all is in them.
Well, and the government got jurisdiction the Men Act without the Constitution.
But say that again. Let me catch that. I want to make sure I hear what you just said. Say that
And
again.
the government have the ability to make act without using the Constitution.
Let me put it to you this way. The government of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas ought to be complying with constitutional law. They don't have any authority to make any law that is not constitutionally sound. Do you understand that?
But many shows you said they're not gone by the Constitution.
No, but
Professor
I
Thompson.
didn't know. But that is true. That is
So
very true.
what we talking about right now, though?
Listen, caller. What you need to understand is this. I got an example right in front of me. The Electricity Act 2024 that was passed last year.
Yeah.
The government of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas is not going according to that act. Do you understand how serious that is? They have signed all kinds of electricity agreements with different people. But the act says specifically that they are supposed to do some other things before any final agreement is made. But must be about 6 or 7 of them right here on New Providence. And then some in the Family Islands. All kinds of people say they want to provide electricity. What kind of nonsense is that? You hardly hear about BPL anymore. So what's going on? Where is the consultation? What about those persons who oppose? Say, I don't think I agree with that. I want that to be checked out. What happens then? You understand what I'm saying, caller?
Yes, sir. But can I quote one thing, Professor Thompson?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
If we all just stop believing in this matrix and stop, all this will stop. If we keep on billing and trying, this was going to continue. We will continue suffering, dying. Professor Thompson, this all work for the devil. This Satan playground. He got us in a circle. Nothing is for real.
So we have a constitution to operate the country. Are you saying that that's not for real?
This whole world is a make-believe, Professor Thompson. We're fighting against ourselves.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, we gotta find the right answer then.
That's within us. Yeah.
Okay.
You're following me. That's within us. And when we find it within us, then everything will change.
Okay. Well, thank you for your contribution.
Love you. Have a good day.
Thank you very much. Okay. All right. Let me just say this. And the caller has his views, and I'm not going to knock him for that. As the Constitution says, people have a right to express themselves with their different views. But I can tell you one thing. This is why I always say to people, you got the Holy Bible and the Constitution. You put the two of them together, you could never go wrong, Bahamians. Unfortunately, in our national affairs, the government of the Bahamas has gone wrong. Why? Because we are not listening to God. We're not getting solid advice from God, which cannot change, which would keep the country strong. This nation was built on Christian values, built on spiritual values, Holy Bible values. I was right there when all this was being made. And the people didn't want a nation without God. They didn't want to tread into the future and no God, no Holy Bible there. Come on. That's why the whole thing was set up the way it was set up. And God had a hand in it with the founding fathers of this nation. They did the best they could under the inspiration of God in setting up the country. They did an excellent job in setting it up. We have done a poor job in not following the dictates of the Constitution. You check your preamble. The vision, the mission of this country is right in there. But we listen to this one, we listen to the Chinese, we listen to the Americans, we listen to the Russians, we listen to the babies, you all can get all mixed up. There are some specific things God will tell you you do not do with them kind of people. Because they say, if you do that, for example, let me give you a simple example. He told the Israelites, watch those females, those foreign females. Do not marry those daughters. But the Israeli men want flesh. They will turn you away from me. And that's exactly what happened to Israel. Their daughters of them strange men turned them away. They used the females as bait to get you. You still have men today falling for that kind of bait. Today, ain't nothing changed because we're not listening to God. That doesn't mean we have anything against foreign women. No. God said they will turn you away from me because they were worshiping false gods. They worship idols. So the men use their females to trap you. That's what God was telling them. Right there in the book. Do you think they stop that today? Oh, no. The same crap they were doing back then is the same they want to put on us today. So we got to be very careful, Bahamians. You got some Bahamian men who go to a particular nation looking for flesh. And they think that's fun. But you bring all kind of disease, all kind of sickness. And people got this, people got that. Because our moral character is flawed. And then you wonder why. We got so much sickness and this kind of disease and that kind of sexual disease because of our lack of character, lack of understanding. You husbands are not faithful to your wives, and you wives are not faithful to your husbands. You made a commitment before God, and then you do the exact opposite. You expect God to bless that? He won't. And then some of you catch some things, and then you go into hiding. You think going into hiding is remove the problem. It ain't going to remove the problem. It can be right there with you. And then you scared to say anything. You shame. Just like Dr. Allen say, shame. When he was on another show and every question was put to him, he said, shame. People become shame. That's what happened to us. That's what happened to Adam in the garden. He told God he was in hiding because he was naked. And he hid himself. Any crap like that. God knew what he was all about. The man made you, created you, gave you everything you got. You talk about you was afraid because you was naked. He knew he was naked before that, but he got shame. And the same thing is happening today. When I heard Dr. Allen say that on the radio, I said I had to agree with him because it happened with Adam. All that time he was there waiting at the garden gate to meet God. And then God said, where are you? And he said he was ashamed because he hid himself, because he was naked. And we making them same excuses today. Famous, we got to stop this foolishness. We must have God in our knowledge, because according to Romans 1, God says, even as we did not like to retain God in the knowledge, God said, okay, fine, I'll just let you do what you feel like doing. Turn you over to reprobate mind. A reprobate mind could cause you to eventually move so far away from God, you can't even come back anymore. You know that, Bahamians? We don't want to see that happen in the Bahamas. So while we may have relationships with the Chinese, we may have relationships with the Americans, we mustn't let these two, well, they call them giants. Some people call them giants. I don't know why they do that. Maybe they got more people than us, but that doesn't make you a nation. We are a nation equal to those two nations. They just got a little bit more people than we have, that's all. And when you cut down all the strangers and foreigners and aliens and outsiders in this country, you'll have far less than what we have now. Because then you're cleaning up the nation, getting rid of all that don't belong here. So it's very important that we understand the knowledge of God. When God has to say how to run a nation, what's expected in your leaders, when he says it, it's final. Ain't no negotiating on those points. But when you talk to these people outside, they do all kind of funny things. They write on pieces of paper. Then tomorrow morning they change their mind. Say, I know I signed it, but I ain't going by that no more. So even when they sign things, Bahamians, they'll break it up because it doesn't suit them at the particular time. So we must be very careful who we deal with. Our leaders, the people who are going to sit to the table to sign on behalf of the Bahamian people, I think what we need to do is see these things before they sign them, see whether we agree with it. You should get the input from the Bahamian people, but the government doesn't do that. That's been going on for a long time, and we didn't tell them you all got to stop this foolishness. Because once you get locked into these arrangements with these nations, I'm not saying you can't get out of it, but it could be difficult. And you have to be smart and you have to have negotiating skills to deal with it before you get locked in. So, with the knowledge of God, you won't get locked in. And they won't be able to mislead you and deceive you. That's why you have to put the Holy Bible and the Constitution together. Now, the caller was talking about what's within you. Now, that's his view. But I'm going to tell you, our heart is deceitful and wicked pain. That's what's within us. We have to overcome that, and that's a tough fight. You got to struggle with that every living day, and God Almighty has to give you of His Spirit so you can overcome it. The heart is deceitful above all things, and it is desperately wicked. Jeremiah 17:9. You check that out in your Bible. And Romans 8:7. The carnal mind is enmity, hatred against God, meaning we are so designed we don't want to even obey God. We got to fight that thing. So we got to get God in our knowledge. This is Professor Sidney Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM. The lines are open 326-0271, 326-0272, 813-0271. We'll be back after the break. astray and mislead the nation. I certainly agree with that 100% because Bahamians, a lot of things are being put out on social media, which could be very troubling. And we have to exercise caution and restraint. This is the election season, and you have some people who have evil in their minds. And particularly when it comes to your leaders. Now, you have a right to disagree with your political leaders. I don't think you should tell lies on them. All right? I think that is wrong. Neither should you attack their character. Now, you had some things that were said out there. I won't get into that at all because I feel that it is not fair to attack someone's character. Now, if the individual said something, I did something that's in the public domain, that's a whole horse of a different color. Because you know I like to listen to what the Prime Minister says. Now that fake thing what was out there, I knew from the day one, when I first heard it, from the first words that were said, that ain't the right honorable Prime Minister. I got that. But they say they could make it in such a way that it's very difficult for you to tell whether it is him or not. And that's rather sad. So we have to be very cautious, very careful. And I have to be absolutely certain that the source I am getting when the Prime Minister says something, that is really the Prime Minister of the Commonwealth, Thomas, Mr. Philip Brave Davis. Caller, you live on air. Go ahead, please. Caller, you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Good afternoon, sir.
Oh, good afternoon. Hey, I just hear who it is now. Give me a little bit more volume on your end.
I mean, that's it. You could hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah, because you were kind of low.
Yeah, Mr. Thompson, you realize that last week this week, earlier week or last week, they put a Bahamian history book that was just modified by 12 persons into the school. You heard about that?
No, I heard about that. I didn't get to check into it. Now, who were these personalities involved?
People.
Pardon?
Huh?
Did these people exist at
the
time?
They people who exist, but then people who exist who be pro-Bahamian. I mean, not all of them, but the majority of them are not pro-Bahamian. Like the Indians, not pro-Haitian, right?
Okay.
Like the Curry man, Christopher Curry, he pro-Haitian, right?
Uh-huh.
And like the minister, she pro-Haitian too, because in a community, she can't see that.
Okay.
All right, but the thing about it is, they modify this book to basically take out the, I guess, the English one, eh?
So this history that they have written, that has to do with the political history?
They call it Bahamian history, right? With their manipulation, basically to install all of the other, I'm talking about foreign, whatever they want to put in it, other than basically like to say, you know, we came from England, right?
Yes.
You know, and basically to undermine that and make it more like Afro-centric.
I get what you're saying now. Okay, I've heard that kind of ideology.
But I mean, like, at the time when they could deal with our history, I put it in the schools to adopt our children, you finish, you know. Because what to me, that's what they seem to be trying to justify the long-standing problem we always had all along. People who come here, they would be that our skills to so sit down and be, well, okay, the manipulation of being strong. And I mean, even they got uncle, but I mean, uncle, but then uncle is through uncle, that's too.
You're kind of little, Caller, you're kind of little muffled. I'm hearing some things you're saying, and then it kind of goes off. I don't know, but see if you could be a little bit clearer.
I beg your pardon?
Take a little slower because I heard
you
just now.
All I'm saying is to basically put a book in the school. A minister, I don't care what a minister is. When you're dealing with our history, you got to come to us as the people, man. I think we should have referendum for people who dealing with our past, you know, because they would put some things in the past to justify the future. You realize that, Mr. Thompson?
Okay. I'm trying to follow you. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, but I guess that ain't too important.
What do you mean?
Mr. Thompson, the deal where they had Freeport with that hotel. How do you feel about it?
Let me put it to you this way. I've just heard some things that were said on the airwaves. I'd like to get a copy of the information, if that is available. Now, if that is not available, see, like I have the Electricity Act of 2024, what was passed in the House. I wanted to give me the entire document. So I could analyze it and study it to see whether it's constitutionally sound, yes or no.
Yeah, I think that's why a revolutionary deal. Why did that document over there when they announced it? And I think the gentleman, he was saying on the amenities of this 967 engine, right?
Yes.
And he said that it's going to have one of the biggest pools in this part of the hemisphere, right? And this pool, you know,
Wait a minute. He's making a pool?
Yeah, they're building the biggest pool, right?
On the island of Grand Bahama?
Yeah.
Why build a pool and you got the beaches right there?
Exactly. But listen to this exaggeration, right? This pool is going to be 250,000 square feet. You know, Mr. Thompson, 250,000 square feet. You know how much that is? That's 6 acres. That's basically 1,200 feet by 200 feet, or 400 feet by 600 feet of body of water. What filtration system they're using? I mean, they say it's a freshwater system, which he didn't say, because I mean, that's the part of it. Never say that. It only could be a salt thing, but you know what? Salt water. But the mere fact that, I mean, we surrounded by water.
Yeah,
and they talk about this pool that is 250,000 square feet. The pool, he didn't say fresh or salt. But chances are that we talk about the sea.
Okay.
You know?
Well, the water's already on the beach. I mean,
yeah.
I don't understand that at all. That doesn't make much sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Mr. Thompson. I also understand they got Haiti have an ambassador active here.
Say that again, Haiti?
Have an ambassador that is active, like a president ambassador operating in the
Not that I know of. They don't have a functioning government.
Yeah, man. On the radio, he gets invited to something, but they have with the ships or something like that. You know, the Haitian ambassador. Mr. Thompson, if these people ain't got no government,
but they don't have. But this is the problem. They do not have a functioning government.
Mr. Thompson, they don't have a functioning government, right?
Yes.
We got a functioning government, right?
Yes, we do.
We got a functioning Minister of Foreign Affairs too, right?
Yes.
You know, and I tell you, like corruption is a serious thing, you know, because there ain't no way. That place there right now, they got it adorned with flags straight around it, right? The place even ain't supposed to be open. People walking with their bananas or envelopes doing business.
This is at the Haitian embassy, right?
Yeah, man.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, man.
Right.
And then this business goes on. No one hearing nothing. Something is wrong, man. Because if they ain't got no government, they can't even get the right people to go inside there. They even pull it off. And deeper than that, on the weekend, they had their flag day, right?
They had their flag day this past weekend?
Man, they didn't see, but they understand they had a flag day. But something, you know what? I mean, I tell you know that, right? If you're a citizen of a country, right, that's in turmoil, right, that you don't even want to be in to even try to save your country, to help your country, to fight for your country. You would stand in a foreign land, fight your flag, run up and down, making a bunch of noise, and I mean, in the face of citizens who don't even want people around the world even feeling that no way, you know.
Okay.
But these people do that. Why did they do it? I mean, like, this country is basically destroyed, and people don't hoist that flag. Something's got to be wrong with Thompson, man, and that's a serious thing, because I mean, like, if you could hoist a flag in a foreign land when your country is undetermined by your own self, your people, and the only solution for your problem is you, the ones who all over the place.
That's what they said, yeah.
And they will go back home and fix their problem, but they keep saying that they're looking for a Haitian solution.
That's what
but
they said.
Haitian people all over the place fighting their flag in other people's country, on cell phones, on corners, selling whatever stuff, selling any food, any product they want, anywhere, and without any license or anything, above the law. This is also something wrong, you know.
Yeah,
This
something,
reality we
something,
face in the thing
something.
is nothing but a nightmare. You realize that, Mr. Johnson?
Thank you very much. I understand what you're saying, caller, and I got to move on because I got some
Okay,
others
okay. Have a nice day,
on
Mr.
the
Johnson.
line. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, caller, you're live on air. Go ahead, please.
Hey, Professor.
Hey, sorry about the wait, man.
I know. I was enjoying listening to my friend, Mr. Simon.
Yeah, well, he makes some valid points. We, as you
Absolutely.
do,
Absolutely.
and I
But,
wanted to give him as much space as I possibly can.
and he is very basic.
Very basic, yes.
He
Yes,
starts
right.
from the ground up with
Right
no
from the
dirt
ground up,
on the
yeah.
ground. And
But
his family cannot say the same.
But let me say this: we do not have a functioning government in Haiti.
He knows that. He's a part of them. That's crazy saying.
I heard you. I heard you.
But we spoke a couple of times.
Yes.
But I would associate his last name with another one named some governor, Gerald. Can you have it? Cash.
You said Gerald Cash?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
He left a lot of relatives around here really safe and sound. Do you understand what I said?
Okay.
Every governor general who leaves that place, like Miss Moxie right now, she has the degree, an opportunity to leave all of her relatives throughout the Queen, because.
Caller, you still there?
Yes.
Yeah, you seem to be going in and out.
I know, that's what they all tell me. But high officials in the government can take care of their relatives forever. Do you see that in the Constitution, Professor?
If that is in the Constitution, that they can take care of their relatives forever?
Yes. Because they are the queen and they're what? When you swear, and you got to swear to the queen on her. I can't remember the word.
Heirs and successors. So help me God. But they don't take an oath to the Bahamian people.
Inheritance. Professor, if you are my inheritance.
Caller, you seem to be breaking up. I'm trying to understand what you're saying, but it's rather difficult because you keep cutting in and out.
Okay, I understand. Well, I'll talk to you another time.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you very much. I'm sorry about the interruption there, but you kept cutting off, and I don't know. I think he was able to hear me, but I was not able to hear him at some point. But let me just draw an illustration here. The Queen is the head of state for the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And I think some people get these things mixed up. He said that those people in government could take care of their relatives forever. The Constitution doesn't say that. Nowhere in the Constitution does it speak to that. Those who are in government are paid for their services. They get certain benefits. Now, if they're doing things that are contrary to the Constitution, that are undermining the Constitution, that's a whole horse of a different color. This is where the people of the country have to come to understand that there are some things that the government of the Bahamas is doing that are not constitutionally sound. Now, there's a way to deal with that if we're serious about it. There were let me put it this way. There were a few individuals who started an action, put it before the courts, because they felt that their constitutional rights were being violated. That was done on behalf of the Bahamian people, all Bahamian citizens, not just for themselves. Do we have another caller, Mr. Producer? Caller, you're live on air. Go ahead, please.
Hi, Professor. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm doing well. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. I wanted to ask you, did you see that email? I mean, that video that was going around on Haitian Flag Day in Nassau,
No,
where the Haitian people was throwing rocks at our police officers?
wait a minute now. Slow down a bit now. This Flag Day was when?
Their Flag Day was what I think must be Thursday of last week. I think Thursday
Thursday
or
of last
Friday.
week? No, I hadn't seen the
Yeah,
video.
there was a video where the police was like making their rounds, and these people, these Haitians, with their big flags, was throwing rocks, and the police officers in their vehicle had to basically speed out of there to not get their cars, the windshields broken.
Where was this? Where was the Flag Day event occurring?
On one of the parks in Nassau.
I have to look into that. I'm not aware of it,
Yes,
no.
yes.
Okay.
Look into that. And I also want to say that this prime minister is totally responsible for this. Because ever since he went into that village and run on with I is you and you is me, he has empowered these people to think they are in Haiti and not the Bahamas.
Okay.
You know, and every day all of these Haitians that he's giving documents to.
Yes, ma'am.
Now they're having Flag Day in our country and throwing rocks at our police officers.
Okay.
These people are getting bold because of Mr. Davis.
Okay.
So please look into that,
No,
and we can maybe talk about it on Friday.
okay, I would definitely look into that. I'm upset about the fact that these individuals
They shouldn't be
throwing-
able to have no Haitian Flag Day in our country to
that should be
begin with.
outlawed, yes, completely, totally.
Outlawed it, and they should not be given permits to host anything in that country with their Flag Days. Not only Nassau, Africa
Anywhere.
as well.
Yes, ma'am. Nowhere in the Bahamas.
Anywhere in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, that is wrong.
Yes, ma'am. But I am
And
grateful that
Mr. Davis is totally responsible for this.
Yes, ma'am.
And I hope they vote him out of office.
But I think the Bahamian people have an opportunity to deal with these issues as we've been doing.
And then he made that stupid statement about the PRP to get battle ready.
Oh, I heard those remarks.
We
yes.
have enough violence in that country. That's what he's gonna run on with, battle ready.
Yes, I heard those remarks.
And Labor Day has nothing to do with politics.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up because I knew it was something in my head I hadn't brought up. Yeah, no, since you bring it up, I appreciate that. Because there were so many things.
I hope the union leaders reject him on that day.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm disappointed that the Flag Day by the Haitian nationals on a public park where they're hosting this event. I think it needs to be outlawed. The government has to come tough. We have had differences of opinion, but Bahamians do not behave like that. You do not throw stones at police officers. That's not the Bahamian psyche. All right? So when you see that kind of behavior, that is foreign. They're trying to push us into a position that we've never been in. They believe in violence. Bahamians are generally a peaceful, law-abiding citizenry. We've been that way from 1729 right on up to now. So why do we want to change it? We're going to let some strangers, some foreigners, some aliens, some outsiders change it. And if the government of the Bahamas is complicit with it, there's a way to deal with that government. And that's what I want people to understand. I think we have a caller on the line. Caller, you're live on air. Go ahead, please.
Hey, good afternoon, Professor.
Hey, what's
Professor, I just called back to say just to say this. But they having our Flag Day in the country. Ain't prime ministers. It's our constitution and it's law. When you put your hand over your chest And I know you got your little thing in court, but when who get it, put your hand over your chest and take the allegiance to the flag. You're not
Pledge of
supposed.
allegiance.
Pledge
of allegiance.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're not supposed to raise no flag. It ain't government. It's law. It's the Constitution law. Right there on page 15. And then just what? Everyone know what it is. It's just disrespect. Because to get your citizenship at 18 and 19 is, just so you know what 18, wait for it. Yeah, you put in the citizenship before you reach 19.
Yes.
It's right there. So everybody know it. So just disrespectful, and it's law. The immigration officer should be ashamed. The immigration officer should be ashamed. The Fed Force officer should be ashamed. You cannot do this in the country. But hey, Fessa, if you buy your citizenship, right, and the people just use the citizenship on the table, and you ain't know you're supposed to put your hand over your chest for allegiance, then you fly flag and you don't know. That's an immigration officer to get them and question them. Where you get citizenship from? But ain't nothing hating the foreigners. Foreigners, you got to know. You put your hand over your chest and you beg the allegiance. You're not supposed to fly flag in the next man country. Now, if you got weak leaders, they don't read the Miles Monroe book, the spirit of a leader, then you could do these things. But all Bahamian, anytime you see that, they bought that. They ain't being through the thing. They didn't put their hand on their chest. That's why they're doing all the foolishness in your country. Okay, have a blessed day. No disrespect. It's just law.
Okay, caller, thank you. Thank you for your contribution. Yes, there are some things that are strictly constitutional and are lawful. But this business of throwing rocks at police officers, I cannot go along with that. Even though we may disagree with police officers, and sometimes I do myself, but we don't throw rocks at them. That's not in the spirit of the Bahamian people. If that happened, and I am not inclined to disbelieve what the lady called out from Grand Bahama, I hadn't heard of the Flag Day, but I'm going to look into it, and maybe on Friday we can have a discussion on it. But we cannot allow strangers in our country. And this is why I keep saying to people, we need to be well organized. We have these weaknesses because there is so much division among our people. And that division has come about because of this one saying this and that one saying that, and we're not following the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. We're not following law. It is the duty of the government of the Bahamas to carry out constitutional law. They are not allowed to violate, and if they violate the law, as they have done now, we have evidence to prove that they have done it. People getting citizenship or scraps of paper where they write citizenship on, it's not valid. It's not legal. It is unconstitutional. And so we have to do something about that. And so there were some persons who took it upon themselves, knowing that the Constitution was being violated, citizenship articles, they took the government to court. And hopefully that matter will start next month. And while I'm at it, I'm going to be calling upon you to support the show, because Bahamians, we're going to have to cover a whole lot of things. And I'm going to be very specific and very clear as to what it is I would like to be doing from this radio station and also outside of this radio station. Because Bahamians, there's a lot of work to be done, and it's going to take funding to get it done. So you who are serious about saving your country, and we have to save it, Bahamians, we can't allow the place to go down. From 1729, when the House of Assembly opened, we've had our share of problems, internal problems, but we don't want people from the outside getting involved in our internal affairs and causing mischief, chaos, confusion. See, it started with rock throwing. Then they'll be using something else later on. And we have a limited number of police officers. And we need all of them to keep law and order in the country. All right? We have a limited number of Defense Force officers. In fact, they have to work with both of them to keep law and order in the country. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur, Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network. But Bahamians, there are some things we can specifically do to make sure that we have this country. And God gave it to us. We have to keep it. We have to fight to keep it, Bahamians. It's going to be tough, but that's what it requires right now. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM. We'll be back after the break.
0272. WhatsApp us your concerns on 809-2310. Follow us live on Facebook and globalradio99.5fm.com. Express yourself.
This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network. I understand from my producer this is the last portion of the show, and I got to get it back in. But I still want you to call in and express your views. And more than expressing your views, Bahamians, there are some specific things I will let you know I want to participate in and deal with. We have to save this country, Bahamians. There's a way to do it, but it requires your cooperation. It requires your support to make it happen. Call you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Hello, you can hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly. Go ahead.
I want to find out something about that court case where we say might be in court now. What all about?
Well, let me say this. You're talking about the constitutional case?
Yeah, what about?
Well, what happened is it is expected to start next month in June. I can't give you the exact date. I have to see what my chief advisor had to say on it.
Is that concerning people voting in our election? It's something. It's
Well,
like a secret.
basically, I'll explain to you what it is because I'm familiar with it. The case, we've taken action against the government of the Bahamas, constitutional violations regarding citizenship. All right. You have people who have been registered to vote in this country who got citizenship by fraud. That's basically what has happened. This Nationality Act, which the government of the Bahamas has been using from the beginning, is not constitutionally sound. That's the problem. So everyone who got citizenship under the Nationality Act, that is called into question. Do you understand that, Colin?
I understand.
Yeah.
Another thing.
No, but hold on. Let me make this clear.
All right.
The Nationality Act, what was passed under the old Constitution, when it was supposed to come into effect, July the 10th, 1973, you had the new Constitution come into effect, July the 10th, 1973. The act purported to make changes to constitutional law. And so that act came under the old Constitution. It fell away the same day it was supposed to come into effect. The Constitution being the supreme law stands firm. So that means that Nationality Act never complied with the new Constitution.
All right. President, do you think the reason why the court case didn't come through yet because it might be allegedly, I can't say like because I really ain't gonna prove it, but in a way, anytime you see me thinking something, it ain't far from the truth. Like when the punch was around,
Yeah.
you always the punch always tell the truth. Like I saying.
Okay.
In my mind, I was thinking maybe we had a court case didn't really come through enough because either brave they were trying to call an election before the court case come through.
Okay.
The time as the court case come through, the election have already been held.
Let me put it to you this way. Okay,
right.
Well, let me let you finish. Go ahead, finish your point.
So if the election was held and the Constitution thing meant the court case didn't come through, so that means so basically if the court in favor of the Bahamas and the Bahamas them rights and what the government and PRP and everything because them the same thing, Constitution basically the same thing. So they found it was wrong for doing what they're doing and having all these legals on these thing on them. Is somebody going to jail? Are they gonna take off the people who get citizenship the wrong way? Or are they going to let us pass and the PRP still be in power or they're going to call an election? Because this doesn't make no sense.
You asked a lot of questions, and let me put it to you this way. See, there are those who will fight it because they have ulterior motives, which are not beneficial to the country.
I know all that.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, this is why I keep saying to people, one factor they're forgetting is God. See, God has the power to knock out every friggin' one of them who trying to disrupt this nation. All you gotta do is draw the breath out of them and they're just corpses on the ground.
Yeah.
Okay? That is why I try to get people to understand you must have God in your knowledge. We are fighting this battle not with flesh and blood. It's a spiritual battle. We know that. So we are saying to people, yes, we have to go through the court system because that's what the Constitution says. But we have to trust God to help us to be successful in this fight. We believe we will be successful in this fight. Now, there are others who got other plans, and God could knock them right out. So we have to trust in God. Now, I don't want to speculate on anything. We only could go by what we know, but we're supposed to start it next month. Further information, once I have it, I'll be able to put it forward. But we're going to need some solid sponsorship to...
I mean, I wish I could help, but I
No, you can. No, you can. You can help. You can help. Just leave your name and number with the producer, and I'll tell you. Every single one out there who's serious about saving this country, you can help. I've said to people, Article 24.1, People fail to understand you need to be highly organized. If you don't know how to do that, Professor Thompson can help you to do that. But leave your name and number, and I'll tell you what you can do to help. Did you get that, caller?
Go on, get to the government.
Pardon? Caller,
Get to the government.
caller, Mr. Producer, I'm hearing two different voices on there. I don't know. We have another caller. Caller, you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Would you please go ahead? I'm hearing you. Go ahead, please.
Oh, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Professor. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing okay.
Yeah, I heard a gentleman call earlier and he was asking you if you heard about the Haitian celebration. That happened last weekend.
Oh, okay. All
And
right.
then the lady called in. The lady, I
It's
love
from
to hear her
Freeport.
voice, and she always has something sensible to
She
say
does,
about
yes.
this corrupt government. She was saying something about a video that came
Yes.
around. Well, I
Yes.
just sent you all on WhatsApp a photo of the Prime Minister having fun out there with the kids, with the Haitian flag, had cloths tied around their head. So you can have a look at it. I told the gentleman that answered the phone to go look on WhatsApp for it. This
Okay.
I don't know what kind of Prime Minister this is.
So he was at the Flag Day himself then, is that it? He was at the Flag Day celebrations? You're saying the Prime Minister was at the Flag Day celebrations?
Yes, I just sent it to your WhatsApp page. I just sent it there.
Okay.
Because
Now,
the gentleman just gave me the number.
okay. So you were saying in your communication the Prime Minister himself was at this Flag Day celebration?
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yes.
Okay,
And
fair
have
enough.
you seen the situation that's going on down in Bimini now?
No, I haven't heard about Bimini.
Well, this country is not being protected. I'm gonna go on my phone and send that one to you so you can make remarks
Please
on
do.
it.
Please do. And
It's a video. It's a video showing. Boy, I'm telling you, this party is not taking care of this country.
so this video.
Not protecting this country.
Okay, we will look at the information that you would send. And because we need information, because we're saying 8130271. I think the producer may have given you that number. You can send that information and so we can have
And the Haitians, the Haitians are bragging about how they could sell food and don't have to get any health certificates and don't have to get any license or nothing. They're bragging about that, what happened last weekend.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. All right. I appreciate the information. No, but we could do something about it. This is what I'm trying to get people to understand. I know it's frustrating at times because the enemy is at work. But
let them play with God.
No, well, God can deal with them. But then we have our role. We have our role to play. What I'm trying to get people to understand: do not get distracted by these things that are happening around you. You have to be concerned about doing things that are constitutionally sound to save this place. Trust in God. Ask for God's guidance and direction, and you will see what will happen. That's what we need. And we got to stay focused.
Yes.
Because the enemy will do everything to try to get you off, doing all kind of foolishness. But that's what we have to do.
Okay, then I'm going to send you now the situation that's going on in Bimini right now.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I know people are concerned about a lot of things that are happening out there. But Bahamians, there are some specific things that Professor Sidney Walter Thompson has to be involved in to save the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And Bahamians, we cannot take this lightly. It will require your support and your help to make it happen. Article 24.1 of the Constitution. We need all the people we can get to become involved. It's a nationwide crisis. So we don't want to just complain about it, but we don't take appropriate action that is essential and necessary to do things. Okay? People need to understand the Constitution, yes. But you need to live by it. You need to practice it. You see things in your community, you have to do something about it, but it has to be in an organized fashion. That's why the Constitution says you must be organized to protect your interests. And behemoths, if you don't know how to do that, that's why you got Professor Thompson right here. Some of you may be afraid to take action. I don't know why you want to be afraid. This is a free country. We get into other petty little things, Bahamians. And I said to people, talk to the person next door to you. Talk to the person across the road from you. Talk to the people on both sides of you, on both sides of the street. Don't get personal with them. Just be friendly. Be neighborly. Because it's going to take the collective will of a people to get things done. And if neighbors are always squabbling and fighting among one another, it's going to be very difficult to organize them on the ground in their local communities. And then another thing what I want to do, while it's in my head, I want to have open discussions. This could be like these will be town meetings, and you can say, send me an email, say, Professor, I'm interested in sponsoring a town meeting. We'll let you know what that's all about. Because you see, we don't have any discussions on parliamentary representation. We've had discussions where people be rowing and carrying back and forth about this thing, that thing, and the next thing. Payments that can't help us. We have some very serious community problems. We have some very serious constituency problems. But you see anything being done about them? While people will call into the show and they talk about, fine, I don't have a problem with that. But let's go beyond that now, Bahamians. One fellow called in yesterday, I think it was. He said he's tired of talking. He wants action. So he spoke to Brother Hyla, and he's going to deal with Brother Hyla. Bahamians, it's going to require work. Didn't the man tell you, if you don't fight for it, you don't deserve to have it? That's the only statement you people seem to remember. What the former one of the former prime ministers said. He said all kinds of other things, which were positive. But are we doing anything about what he said? Are we prepared to take positive action that is essential to save the country? Because it can be clearly evident whether we are serious about what we want to do. We know that the enemy is very busy. Are we busy in trying to save the country? That's what we need to understand. All of you are peace-loving Bahamians. And the court matter is just one aspect of it. But there are some other things that we have to do. And while some people may try to block things and throw their power in the way to stop you from doing this, stop you from doing that, instead of concentrating on that, you concentrate on it. What is it I can do to help save my country? That's what we need to look at, Bahamians. Don't just sit in your community under the tree. You grumble and you complain. You get something to drink. You feel good. Then you go to sleep. You wake up, the problem's still right there facing you. It doesn't make any sense. What positive steps are you taking to save your country? Are you ready for that? And people talking about the election. How many of you who are genuine Bahamian citizens are on the register to vote? We have some people on there who don't belong there now. We can deal with that one. But the point is, you who are citizens, genuine Bahamian citizens, are you on the current register to participate in the parliamentary process of this country? There are basically some basic things that you need to do. And you don't have to be a member of a political party in order to participate in the parliamentary process. Because basically what you're going to be doing in the general election is choosing one person among others in a particular given constituency. That is what the average voter will be doing. but you have to make a good choice. And a lot of you do not know how to do that. Because basically you are a party personality. And whatever your party says to you, you don't see anything wrong, even though your party might mislead you and deceive you. You don't see anything wrong because you're not basing anything on the Constitution. You're not looking to see whether it's right or wrong, whether it's good or evil. You just go along with what the particular personality would say. And that doesn't make any sense. We have to make very strong decisions, Bahamians. This election is going to be extremely important for the salvation of the country. And let me just say to you that the scriptures and the Constitution go hand in hand. And once you understand what God says a parliamentary representative ought to do, and what God says the government of the Bahamas, who say they care about you, but people know. The quality of the people you send to represent your business at the constituency level and at the national level. And I have some questions about the Local Government Act, because if you have an act in place, and it is in place now, where only 1 out of every 4 Bahamians is covered by that. So that means 75% of your people are not covered under the Local Government Act. And they've been allowed to get away with it for some 25 plus years. And you sat right here and let it happen. Is that act constitutionally sound? That's the question I asked, and I'm going to look into that and see whether that is so, yes or no. Because anything that doesn't benefit the overwhelming majority of the people, can that be right? Benefits only a few. So they say they have local government all over those islands, and yet those islands got all kinds of problems. Are they better off because of local government? They got local government, they got parliamentary representatives, and they got the central government. They got 3. And then Grand Bahama got 4 or 5 different sets of administration. The fellow having problems of going to the beach. And he wanted to know whether that was constitutionally sound. The answer is no, it's not constitutionally sound. For people to block the roads off, rope off the beach, and say you can't go on. That's a violation of law. It takes the people in that place to organize themselves. Because there's something you can do. You have a common interest. Do you have a common interest to protect? Because the Constitution says interest more than one. And we have a lot of things that are going on in this country which need attention. It takes organization, Bahamians, to make it happen. And you have to be highly organized. And then you're going to need honest, reliable, dependable, responsible persons. And I'm going to quote Proverbs 29 too. It says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. Are you prepared to do that, Bahamians? Are you prepared to put righteous people to run your constituency affairs, to run your national affairs? Are you ready for that? And then God say the people will rejoice. If you put wicked people, when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. Now, which do you want? You want righteous people or you want wicked people? You have to make a choice, Bahamians. Not everybody that comes before you is going to have your best interest at heart, even though they may say you have your best interest at heart. They just don't. So I'm going to be very specific and very clear. Now, we need sponsorship for the radio show. Let me put that out there right now. we need you to call, to send an email, or you could leave your name and number with the producer and say, Professor, I want to sponsor the show. Because we got to keep alive on air. That's only one aspect of it. Then we got to have town meetings, Bahamians. If they, Professor, I want to help sponsor a town meeting, you send me that email and we will let you know what you need to do, Bahamians. We got to cover the court case when it opens up. I want to be right out there outside the Supreme Court. Okay? We need sponsorship for that, Bahamians. So we could bring it on the airwaves, reports that we can get, we can bring to the people. We will have discussion with people who will be there. And when the thing opens up, we want you to leave, take that day off, and you come out. And it would not just be for one day. Let me make that very clear. We need a whole series of shows live on location. So you say, Professor, I want to help sponsor that. But then you send me that email. We'll tell you what you have to do. These are steps you need to take if you're serious about saving your country. It's going to require your strong financial support. Don't forget Article 24:1 says what you have to do to protect your interests, to be organized, to give your strong financial and moral support to the program, to make it happen. And I told you at the constituency level, which I gave you from last July the 8th, I told you I wasn't forget about it. Because I went through this with a fine-tooth comb, Bahamians. We can solve one major constituency problem in 18 months. No ifs, no ands, no buts. Constitutionally sound, legally sound, biblically sound, lawfully sound. But you can't be sitting back on the ground, grumbling and complaining, and that's all you can do, Bahamians. Let's take some action now. You're serious about it? Send that email, give your name and number to the producer, and you can call me. I'm going to give you a number through National Affairs, 325-8652. Anytime, any day, you could call. Because Bahamians, we have some serious work to do. So while you may call on there and express your views, and I have no problem with that, that's fine. That's all well and good. That's a part of the process. But the real action will be taken off air. There's work on air and there's work off air. Because we only got 2 hours when we're on the radio station. And it must serve a worthwhile purpose, Bahamians. It's for discussion. It's to impart information. It's to get you on the right track. Because Bahamians, our country is in serious trouble and requires your strong support to save the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. We only got one country, you know. Now, then people don't break up their own country. They won't break this up. But we have to stop it. You have a caller? Oh, the email. The email is the State of the Nation 242@gmail.com. Send that email there and you say, Professor, I want to sponsor the show. I want to sponsor town meeting. I want to sponsor the live shows we will have when the court case is coming up. Bahamians, we need funding for all this, you know. And we need funding for the show itself here on the radio. Don't forget that now. Once you send me your email and I have that, I'll be able to give you the information what we want you to do. Because there's something you can do. And that fellow who said he wished he could help, you could help Bahamians. Everyone can. People have different ways of assisting and helping because we need the numbers. We need that strong support. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM. Be safe, pray to God, ask for his divine intervention because this is a spiritual battle, Bahamians. But we have work to do. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. Have a pleasant afternoon.